Hey guys, welcome back. Drew Morgan here. I'm the Director of Sales at Technology Solutions. I am kicking it with the COO, Robert Sutton. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you doing,
I'm
Drew?
doing good, man. Hey, to start off, I just want to say congratulations to the 2019-2020 Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, congratulations. I want to focus on being proactive today rather than being reactive, and that's what our focus is going into 2020. So, let's waste no more time. Let's get started. Question number one of my 15 I probably will have. So what would you say is the biggest security threat facing small and medium-sized businesses in the marketplace right now today?
Well, what you're seeing in the headlines and all over news media is about all of these large corporations and enterprises and the data breaches that they're having. Mm-hmm. But for small and medium-sized businesses, the real threat are cryptoviruses, most commonly known as ransomware, getting hit with ransomware.
Oh, yeah.
And that means your company's data gets encrypted and held hostage effectively unless you pay the ransom. And Forbes magazine actually did an article on this in 2019. In the first quarter of 2019, the average cost of ransomware that companies were getting hit with was around $41,000.
Wow.
By the end of quarter four of 2019, that average cost jumped up to $84,000, which was more than a 100% increase in cost. And it's just going to get worse going forward into 2020 and beyond.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying.
It's even more terrifying when you realize that paying the ransom does not guarantee that they're going to hand over the encrypted data. Yeah. It also doesn't guarantee that they won't take that data and just release it onto the dark web. So there's a lot of things to worry about from a security standpoint moving into the future if you're a small and medium-sized business.
So why not large companies? Why is it just a big security threat for small and medium? What do the large companies focus on?
Well, because large companies are already doing the dutiful in backing up their data.
Yeah.
Any large, successful enterprise already has an established IT department and is already doing their regular backups. So that data is protected from that point of view. If it gets encrypted, they're just going to restore from the night before. Mm-hmm. So their big threat is that data being exposed in a data breach. Okay. Smaller companies aren't really targets for data breaches as much as they are targets for ransomware because a lot of them are unprepared and don't have backups in place.
That kind of leads me to my next question. So what can a small and medium-sized business do to protect themselves?
Backups. And so backups and disaster recovery and having a disaster recovery plan. Having those in place means that even if you get hit with ransomware, it would be more of a minor inconvenience where you just roll back to the backups you had from the previous night instead of your entire company being held hostage. When that happens, you're kind of faced with a decision. Either I lose all of this data that I have, or I pay $80,000 or $90,000 or more, depending on what it is that they've captured. And those backups don't just protect you in the event of a security event, but they also protect you from natural disasters, fires, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, things of that nature. Your building gets wiped out, your data gets wiped out. That's your financial data, your taxes, your historical customer data and purchases. Stuff. What happens to your company if that goes away? Can you stay in business? And for most companies, the answer is no.
Correct. And that kind of sounds counterintuitive. You're saying plan for the worst case scenario, like it will most certainly happen.
You should always plan for the worst. You hope for the best, but you plan for the worst. And when it comes to security, while you may want to start tackling really shiny, complicated, proactive security measures first, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
You want to actually tackle backups first. And if you look at it through the lens of, say, homeowner insurance or car insurance, it starts to make a little bit more sense. I can have a fire extinguisher and a fire suppression system and fire alarms, but that doesn't guarantee that my house won't burn to the ground.
That's true.
The thing that protects me if my house burns to the ground is my homeowner's insurance. I have to have the homeowner's insurance in place first. Then I can worry about the bells and whistles and the preventative measures that help mitigate risk. Not necessarily prevent disaster entirely. And the same kind of goes with car insurance. Your anti-lock brake, or cars, anti-lock brakes don't prevent a wreck. They just help mitigate risk. Your car insurance is what protects you if you total your car. And backups and disaster recovery plans are the same in that analogy. They are protecting you from the worst case scenario, because while you may have antivirus and anti-malware and you have a great firewall and you have great security measures in place, those aren't guarantees that you won't get hit.
Of course.
And in addition, you also have other things to worry about, like natural disasters, floods, fires, so on.
So, Robert, you are dropping a bunch of knowledge on us right now. To our viewers, we appreciate you sitting here, listening, learning.
Appreciate everybody taking the time to listen as I run on.
No, you're good, man. No, that leads me to my next topic of an IT vendor. Here at Technology Solutions, we do a bunch of disaster and backup recovery.
Yep.
But why do companies need an IT vendor? If you want to just kind of go in brief description of an IT vendor and what they do, or kind of what we do.
Well, a lot of people think that they can just take data on their server, raw files and whatnot, and copy it to an external hard drive that they plugged into the server. And they go, I'm backed up. The truth is you're not backed up. You just copied that data from one drive to another that's in the same physical location. And so if you get hit with a crypto virus or ransomware, it's not just going to lock your server, but it's going to propagate over to that external drive, and it'll lock everything on that too. If your building burns to the ground, that drive burns to the ground with it. If it gets by a flood, tornado, and again, so on with all the natural disaster scenarios, that copied data just goes up in smoke with everything else. And so what you need is a vendor is to come in with an actual backup solution, an enterprise-grade backup solution for your small, medium-sized business to implement that solution. And what we do here at Technology Solutions is we back up your data to a local repository first that's encrypted, and then we replicate it to a cloud, which is geo-redundant, and that means multiple data centers all over the US. So literally nothing short of a massive natural catastrophe nationwide would ever disrupt your data. So it's not just located at your office. Your building could burn to the ground, get smashed by a tornado, and all of your data and your company will survive. It just needs to be spun up in a new place.
So what does Technology Solutions do different? What do we do different, man?
Well, along with doing the on-site repository that then replicates out to the cloud, so you have dual locations and you have like a faster response time for instant recovery in the event that you get hit with ransomware, and you have the data integrity through the geo-redundancy backed up to the cloud. We also do the disaster recovery option, where you can pay to have an additional server housed in a separate location from your office in a totally different geographic location, and your server is replicated to that additional server. And in the event of a total catastrophe, we flip a switch and it comes on instantly. So your downtime is less than a day. And what that does is that ensures that your bottom line is not impacted by massive amounts of downtime, because time is money in a company. That ensures that your customers are not disrupted by your lack of ability to produce, and that means that you get to maintain your reputation as being a reliable vendor.
Safety first, essentially.
Safety first. That's exactly right. Safety first. Everything else comes second. If you can take care of that first, then you can actually turn around and pivot your time to focus on the P's and Q's. But the P's and Q's have to come after you take care of the big important thing, which is the lifeblood of your company, the data. If that's not protected, you're not protected. Everything else is just security theater.
So you mentioned a little bit about, just disaster recovery and disaster recovery planning. How is that different from backups?
So like I was saying, the disaster recovery portion of it would be having a separate server in a separate location where your server replicates to it and it can just come on instantly. The disaster recovery planning phase is where we actually write up a documented policy plan for your company to adopt as its hard policy. And that actually helps a lot of companies that have hard requirements as far as compliance goes. So if you are a SOC company that has a SOC compliance requirement because you go through a SOC audit every year, or you have another type of security compliance requirement that requires a disaster recovery policy to be written as a hard policy for your organization, we will actually author that to reflect the disaster recovery policies that we implement for your company.
So that's something that Technology Solutions does very well.
And we've done it for a number of companies already, and we continue to do it to this day. We've actually saved companies who have been hit before through backups and disaster recovery planning. So
awesome.
it has saved more than one small or medium-sized business.
Well, guys, I just want to say thank you for viewing. Thank you to Robert. I appreciate it. I'll
Drew?
let you get back to work.
Always a pleasure. Well, if you insist.
Check us out at techsolutions.cc. Check me out at drew.morgan@techsolutions.cc. Check me out. Give me a shout. Click the link below. Stay tuned, guys. We have more information coming soon. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always here for you. We're always here for you. Again, Technology Solutions, we're here for you.